Hello and welcome to what is the 6th annual London Schools and the Black Child Conference. And it's fantastic to see so many of you here today, despite the transport issues and the adverse weather. And it only goes to prove what I've been saying for a lifetime in politics, how much the community cares about its children. But the theme of the conference today is exclusions. And the reason that we chose to make exclusions the theme was because we know how concerned the black community is about the issue of exclusions. In 2002, we had our first London Schools and the Black Child Conference, and we had a survey which was organised by the Institute of Education. And what we found from surveying the over 1,500 people that came to that conference, the top of people's concerns was exclusions. And quite rightly to be concerned, because when the Department of Education looked at it, they did a report on exclusions. It was called The Exclusion of Black Pupils Priority Review, Getting It Right. Some of you who are here today may have been involved in that particular report. And one of the things that the Department of Education said was that for black communities, exclusions are to education what stop and search is to criminal justice. In other words, exclusions signifies the institutional treatment that our children get in the system. It is a key, apart from achievement itself, exclusions is the key issue.
The world is a complex place full of truisms and contradictions, of stereotypes and idiosyncrasies, of prejudices and preferences, of success and failure. It's the pathway through all of this complexity that, on the one hand, might take us through to a place of distinguished achievement, but on the other, if it goes wrong, takes us to a place of vulnerability and failure.
It was in 2001 that the then Director General of the Prison Service, Martin Neri, said, the 13,000 young people excluded from school each year might as well be given a date by which to join the prison service sometime later down the line. I want to say that as well as holding these conferences over 6 years, and as some of you will know, I've been holding events around black children and education before that, the London Schools and the Black Child Project has also sought to expand. One of the things we've done is hold achievement awards for some of our top achieving black children. Because you know, we're talking here about some of the failures of the system, but so many of our children, despite everything, do go on to achieve. Sade Smith, during her time at university, she gave up her spare time to volunteer in a charity, mentoring Hackney School children. She continued working with the charity full-time after she graduated, and she hopes to take up a post as a trainee actuary. And Sade Smith has graduated from Queen Mary University London with a first-class honours degree in mathematics and statistics. I'll give you Sade Smith.
I somehow graduated from Queen Mary with a first-class degree in June 2008. Thank you. So how did I do this? How did I overcome these challenges that so many other young people face, both personally and academically? It was a process which I can attribute to a selection of positive, influential people in my life. People who had told me that I can do better and that I had potential. From my Year 2 primary school teacher, Mrs. Walker, who told me that my artwork was amazing and displayed it in her classroom. Her encouragement was frequent, even with 29 other 6-year-olds in the class, to my Queen Mary University advisor, Dr. Linda Rass, who told me on my very first day that I should have no problems attaining a first-class degree, even after I'd failed. Mrs. Hall, my GCSE maths teacher, who said, "Sade, I'm hard on you because I know you can do better." Her technique worked because I couldn't bear to hear her moan anymore. I worked harder just to keep her quiet. And my A-level maths teacher, Razia, who encouraged me to apply for Cambridge, as being a former Cambridge student, she said I had the capability and the ability to do so. I mean, I didn't want to go, no offense, they just didn't do my course. I've been blessed with amazing parents who constantly supported me, even when I failed, or in my dad's words, hit a life hurdle. Their advice to surround myself with like-minded people and to be my own person remains fundamental rules to me. Because of them, I understand who I am and know my worth as a young woman. They've done a fantastic job, even if I must say so myself. So what can I or we do to make a difference in the lives of these young people that are being excluded? Firstly, we need to take more responsibility. It starts with us as individuals. Make ourselves available to share our own experiences with young people around us. Let's share our stories of failure and triumph. Let's be quick to praise and encourage rather than tear down and reprimand. The teachers that I mentioned made a significant difference to the way that I'd viewed my ability and potential. And years later, I still remember their words. Let's equip our young people with tools and skills such as goal setting and understanding and realising their potentials and strengths. Let's not only highlight more role models in our society, but be role models ourselves. A famous book quotes, "As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another." Let us sharpen young people with our words of encouragement, praise and wisdom, and see them experience educational opportunity without exclusion. Thank you.
We've all come here this morning because we care passionately about education and about the achievement of our children. And because I believe, as Diane and other speakers this morning have said, we are in a new era of hope. Above all, Barack Obama, for me, and it was perfectly obvious as the campaign got going, he stands for and he incarnates an idea that I think is going to transform our world, and that is that there can be and there must be no limits to the achievements of any of our children from any community. And we have now a President of the United States and a leader of the free world, as Diane rightly says, who has a Kenyan for a father, who has Hussein as his middle name. And how many people thought they would live to see that day? We have in the Republican Party, they've moved to catch up and they've installed the most senior official in the Republican Party. The chairman of the National Committee is now Michael Steele, a black man. How many people thought they would live to see that day in the Republican Party? We have a British Formula One motor racing champion who is a black man from Stevenage. How many people thought they would live to see that day? And above all, today, ladies and gentlemen, this morning on this platform, I am very proud to be sharing a podium with my old friend and sparring partner, Diane Abbott. And Diane, how many people thought we'd live to see that day? Diane, this is just the beginning of our relationship, and I want to congratulate. No, seriously, I want to congratulate you and all the organisers of this conference on your achievement and what you're doing, which I will support for as long as I'm lucky enough to be Mayor of London. We are together. We are determined. Parents, teachers, councils, City Hall. We are determined, and you show by coming here today, you show your determination to take responsibility for our children and for their success.
This conference is unique, and Diane, respect is due. It is unique in bringing together educators with the parents, the students, and the communities that it is our privilege to serve. The conference itself has taken on, I feel, a symbolic role in that it chronicles the journey of the black child through the British schooling system at this juncture in the 21st century. So the conference, not unlike the mythical African bird Sankofa, must therefore at one and the same time look back and look forward. Why do we need to look back? So that we can gather the best of what our past has to teach us, thereby enabling us to achieve our full potential.
In our household, there was not an issue about color. It was not an issue about race. And the one thing my parents taught me, and I want to pass this on to the young people, is my mum and dad always said to me, just educate yourself. Get that piece of paper. And when you have that piece of paper in your hand, ain't nobody can take that away from you, right? They came to see me on Saturday at a show in the West End. And I kid you not, I was really nervous. I don't get nervous anymore. I've been doing this job for 15 years, right? I was so nervous. And I said to the audience, can I just say, my mum is in the third row right there. The audience got up and went mental. My mum stood up, took a bow. I was like, they're here for me, not you. And I didn't ever realize, when I was growing up, that I could do this job, being a comedian, making people laugh as a living. Because when I grew up, most people in my generation around this room, you know that when we saw the TV, there was nobody on TV that represented us, that looked like you. So it was a dream, a pipe dream, right? And it's really weird, right? Because, oh my God, now that I'm doing it, I get young black kids, young black men, young black youth, coming up to me in the street on a daily basis and saying to me, thank you very much for representing. Now, it wasn't my idea to be a role model or a representative, but it's one label that I will now carry on with me with pride. And I'll do whatever I can to let the young people know that anything is possible.
It's amazing to be here. I came here 6 years ago and it was just as electric then as it is now. You could touch the atmosphere and buzz up here. It's just amazing. But we hear about gun crime and we hear about failure. And my whole career, I have to say, I'm very tired. All I do is talk about underachievement. Everywhere I go, I'm asked for how can we solve the issues of underachievement. We don't talk about success, but when somebody like Obama comes along and he is successful, suddenly the story changes. There's no racism anymore. If he can make it, we can all make it. Yes, that's true, but that doesn't mean that the issues are not there.
Gosh, I wish that when I was at school or college, we had something like this. Because I tell you, man, I would have gone, clear very quickly, because I just think it's so important having something like this where it's literally, it's for the black kids, because I think that we're living in a society now where, black kids are getting a bit, jaded in terms of where they fit in and what they can do and who's interested in them and who cares about them. So having something like this is so inspirational and so important because, and I love what Heidi said because, I don't believe all the things I read about in the media because every time I go to schools, I'm doing workshops, it doesn't seem to marry with what I'm reading about. you know, and they keep talking about lack of role models and stuff. And I know that lots of the kids I talk to, they have their role models. And a lots of them, their role models are their parents, but we don't hear about this in the media. So I just want to say that this is extremely, extremely important. I mean, obviously, education was really, really important to me because my parents are Nigerian and they literally beat it into me. So, but it was so important. And like, I remember like being at school and like my parents used to just turn up when they felt like it. It wasn't even parents' evening. Do you know what I mean? They used to just turn up because they wanted to know what I was up to and what I was doing. And they had like an itinerary of questions for the teachers. You know, they didn't even wait for parents' evening.
First of all, I'd like to thank my speakers. You may go to conferences like this and see big celebrity speakers like Stephen and Jocelyn, big academics like Professor Heidi Mirza, and they get paid. They get paid big money to turn up. I don't even pay bus fare. Not even bus fare. So the people that you've seen, both this morning and afternoon, have made the time. I mean, Jocelyn came down from Birmingham, Rosemary Campbell came down from Birmingham. People have made the time, they've given up their Saturdays, and they're all very busy people because of their commitment to the issue and their commitment to the community. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
I believe it's absolutely essential that we make sure that all young people have the opportunity to do their best and achieve success in whatever their chosen field. I think this event brings together all those who are passionate to do their best for young black people in London, but also with great impact around the country too. It's only by bringing together the inspiring people at events like this that we can see that it is possible to do better, that it is possible to do the right thing for young black children in London and in the rest of the country.
Well, 1,400 kids excluded every year from London schools is far, far too many. And it's a waste of money and it leads to more crime. Because if a kid is excluded from school, they're far more likely to earn less. They earn on average £36,000 less than a kid who's not excluded. They're far more likely to commit crime. So our strategy is to help to keep kids in school by any way we can. And that means supporting the welfare education officers, supporting the councils, and using the Mayor's Fund that we're setting up, using the youth offer that we've got in London to support the voluntary groups and the after-school clubs to inspire kids to love education and not to get kicked out. It's vital that we have more black teachers and more teachers from black and ethnic minority communities. And I would say it's vital that we have more male teachers from those communities, because that's the way to engage kids' minds and to get them interested in learning.
I hope that the conference serves as a catalyst so people go back to their schools, go back to their communities and redouble their efforts to help our children. I think you need good leadership on race equality in schools, you need proper race equality training for teachers, you need to involve the community and parents in the workings of the school, you need to involve the pupils in the school so they feel that the procedures and the processes are something that they have ownership over. And you also have to explore ways of getting discipline in a school without just punishing people, but by sort of mediating and working with people. I think, as I say, working with pupils, leadership, and a clear understanding of race equality issues can all help to bring down levels of exclusion. One thing the conference does, it's about the only time that ministers and educationalists come face to face with a body of black parents, and I always find for them it does concentrate the mind, having to explain what's going on in the system to black parents who are actually quite informed and actually a little bit critical of what has gone on up until now. I think role models have a part to play, but I also think we do have to look at the nitty-gritty of what happens in schools, and I think teacher training and having a more diverse group of teachers in London schools, having a teaching workforce in London that looks like London, they're also very important. Parents can support their children. Parents can be involved from the very earliest stage, whether it's reading to their children, broadening their educational experience, taking them to museums, getting involved in Saturday schools, and also getting involved in the school in a constructive way from the very beginning. Parents play a key role, and I have found, when we're looking at the children we give awards to for academic achievement, that their parents invariably have played a very constructive role.
I think the London Schools and the Black Child Initiative is important, just because I think that as times are changing, I know that there is there's an extra pressure on kids, and especially black kids, because I think the media has a lot of responsibility there, and I don't think there aren't enough, positive things to be seen in the media, whether it's in newspapers or magazines, and I'm sure there are a lot of black kids who are quite disillusioned in terms of, what can I do, what is there for me, what can I achieve, and so I think that just having something like this, it inspires them, and it also lets them know, there are people who actually do care about you, who are thinking about you, and here's the support. I think it's extremely important to have role models or mentors. I think there are hundreds and thousands of them out there, but I think that what needs to change are kids' perceptions of what a role model is. You don't necessarily have to be a singer or a footballer. It can just be someone who's successful, or someone who had ambition and went for it. And it doesn't actually matter what the result is. It's